had a slight problem with the color shading. I wanted to keep this as red as possible, and with adding the slightly maroonish tint of the lining, it was going to change the color. So what I decided to do was I found a perfectly matching small piece of silk. Now unfortunately I didn't have enough of this to line all of the dress, but what I'm going to be doing is initially lining the net. So I'm just going to top stitch all around the corners of this and then add the cotton lining to the inside of the dress. One, that will make it comfortable, and two, it will keep the redness of the color. And then I've cut out pieces for adding as a belt to the dress as well. So with the dress, I'm just going to stitch around the neckline and then add the lining and just turn it towards the inside. Also the same with the sleeves. So I will give you a little bit of a tutorial. I'm just going to do these basic ones first of all, just to tack this down, which are quite simple, easy stitches. So all we're going to do is just stitch around the whole of this just to tack these two together, and then we're gonna do the actual stitching of this. Hopefully there is going to be a little bit of a problem because I've got this jagged border effect on the front side, but I've not got that on the back. So I've got a slight bit of a dilemma here on what to do about this. I'm going to try and figure that out and sort of explain to you exactly how to go about addressing an issue like that. Okay, so the way to address that is to stitch the lining two pieces together, fold the lining inwards and press it, and then sit it flat, and any unevenness that's around the corners and so on, stitch, not stitch, cut away the excess, and then leave that overhanging. And what we're going to do is stitch the lining to this, and we're going to do the same with the back. So I'm just going to tack all this down. The two lining pieces, I'm going to attach those, press them, even them out, and do the exact same thing with the back of the dress as well. So both the bodice parts are completed. The way I've done the first one is by the first time I attached the lining to this and then turned it over, evened it all out, and then attached it around the shoulders and the armhole, all holes, from the wrong side, facing the two sides together. So the lining and the was already attached to this, and after I've stitched it, I've notched all into around the corners, turned it over and pressed it and left it open there. So the way we're going to connect this is the bottom part is going to get connected to the skirt part, and then this is going to be stitched over. And then the back, I've done it slightly differently. I've put a zip in there. I left it open initially and trapped the zip inside the lining too, so there's no unevenness or any raw edges, and the edges of the zips are nicely concealed into the neck part. So facing the two fabrics together, again I did the same thing, but I attached the zip inside this as well, and then notched it and cut into this. Now the way I'm going to put these two together is this is the open side, and what I'm going to do is put these two together, push that part of the neckline towards the inside, turn that over to the wrong side and stitch at the top of the shoulder, and then that raw unsalvaged edge will all be trapped inside and the bodice will become one. Then we're going to go on to attaching the bottom skirt part. So I very quickly, hastily explained this. Let me explain it again. So these are the two right sides, and what you're doing is attaching. First of all, leave the one side of the lining unattached and just attach that shoulder seam to the inside of this. It can become a little bit confusing, so you're better off doing it this way. And also there is a slight bit of excess on the neckline when I've attached this, so when I go back to stitching on the inside, I can easily remedy that and trim away the excess. So once I've attached the two right sides without attaching the lining, I can turn this inside out through that little peephole, and if I turn that over, what I will get is that's already attached, and if I even all that out, that gives me an exact point of where I'm going to be stitching. So I'm going to start there and then do a little bit of a turn and attach the stitch over the excess of this, trim away, and that way when I turn this back over inside out, it will give me the right amount that I've taken in.